Welcome to the Run Radio podcast. My name's Trina, and Run Radio is all about inspiring strides in business, life, and beyond. And today we've got someone that can speak into people about investing, especially when it comes to real estate. Michael Del Prete, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So tell me about your business, where it started and where it's headed.
Oh my, big question there, right?
Yeah.
So I'll keep it short for the listeners. I've been investing in real estate for 14 years now. So 14 years ago, I was working 9 to 5, Verizon Wireless. I was in the cubicle, working 60 hours a week, getting paid for 40. And I knew I didn't want to be there. And there was other dreams and aspirations that I wanted to achieve, but I had no idea how I was going to do that in the cubicle. Because when your phone bill was higher than you thought, you're yelling at me. That's what you're calling if you remember those days before unlimited. So I just remember a gentleman. We're at the water cooler. People are just chatting, and he said, "Hey, houses are like $30,000-$40,000." And that was kind of unheard of at the time because houses, we just had the boom. So this was like Great Recession era, so 2009, and people. Houses used to be 150, 200,000, and now they're 30. I was like, that's weird. So I got curious and I started looking into how to get into real estate because I would watch HGTV, the fix and flip shows, right? Sexy, the big money, the big checks, right? So I was like, hey, I want to make more money because I had a wife, son, I needed something better. So I started getting curious about real estate. And then it was like, hey, flip a house. So if you guys are familiar with flipping houses, you buy an ugly, distressed house, fix it up, make it pretty, and you sell to a family. That costs money. You got to be handy at some level. You got to manage teams. You got to credit money. I had no clue.
Sure, yeah.
Right. And then think about rental properties, right? When you buy a house, make it safe, clean, and affordable, and then someone lives in there. At that time, rent was $800, $1,000. After your mortgage and everything, maybe I'll make $100 or $200. How do you get rich doing that? Right? How do I quit my job doing that? Then I found this word called wholesaling real estate. No money, no credit, make $5K in 30 days. Boom. That was me. Okay. So in short, I went on YouTube, found someone that had 100 videos on how to wholesale real estate, watched them all. I did the craziest thing ever. I applied the information. So, right. And so in 45 days, I made a $4,200 check. And that made it real. And that kicked me off into this world of investing.
Wow. So,
yeah,
that's a lot. That is a lot. So when anybody, like you're saying, renting, trying to make a buck, it's hard to make a buck because there's so much of your precious time that goes into that. You were learning these videos. Did you have to get investors? Did you put up front your own money? Where did you get your seed money to even get started investing and buying that first house?
That's what's so great about wholesaling, because no money, no credit. So wholesaling is a sales and marketing service you provide to the real estate investor. So it's a great entryway into the business and a tool to have in the toolbox over time. So I go to a homeowner that that needs to sell their house, not wants to sell it. Because if you're in a good position, you want top dollar for your house, go to a real estate agent. 98.9% of people do that, but there's a small percentage that inherit a house from someone that passes away. The house burns down, drugs, divorce. There's like all these crazy situations where sometimes houses need to be liquidated. I know it sounds crazy if you're not in the real estate world, but problems happen every day. And sometimes these houses are more of a headache than anything for homeowners. They just want to move on. So we find the house, hypothetically, 60 cents on the dollar. I get a contract with that homeowner. I will buy your house at X price. So say it's a $100,000 house is worth. I buy it for 60. I offer them 60. I then now have a legal binding contract that allows me to buy that house. Then, as long as I understand the cash buyer market, the investor with the money, let's say they're willing to pay 70 for it, and I understand how they buy houses, I will then sell them my interest in the contract for a $10,000 profit. It's called an assignment. I will then assign my rights to the end cash buyer for 70. The end cash buyer brings $70,000 to the table at the title company. 60 goes to the homeowner, 10 goes to me. Leverage. That's how I got in the business and made my money deal after deal. So then as you learn the business, you start to understand fix and flippers, you understand landlords and understand wealth and rental properties. Then you start getting into, hey, how'd you get your money to buy your own rentals? How'd you get the money to buy your flips? So to set my stage and how I started, I was leveraging a homeowner that had a discounted property, and I was leveraging the fix and flippers cash that would buy the property to make my spread.
So at what point did you decide that you were fully in all of this? Was it after the first sale? Did it take a couple for you? When did you realize, yeah, I love this?
Yeah, well, oh yeah, I loved it. Yeah, that first check, because I was like, back then I was making $12 an hour 14 years ago. So it's like, hey, that takes me 2 months after tax to make this, right? And I just did this part-time, after work. Yeah, dedicated, sacrifice. Wasn't easy. I'm not saying it was easy, but like, I was like, let me try doing this again while I'm working.
So you did this while you were still working then?
Oh yeah. Well, 100%. Like I had, because I had a wife, son, mortgage, car payment, you name it. So I couldn't quit, right? I couldn't, some people go with the burn the boats theory. Like,
yeah,
I believe it works. It's true. However, sometimes it's like, it's okay to do it at a slow pace.
Yes, I like that. It feels
like,
safer, for a lot of people.
There's no right or wrong. So wherever you're at and you're like chasing that dream, hey, yes, burn the boats. That comes with risk, and that's okay. And if you have an opportunity to kind of learn from someone or get some coaching and do it you will sacrifice more time after work and away from your friends, family, whatever it is, but you could build it that route.
Okay, so how much longer did you go at that feed the family sustainable job until you decided to do this all in?
So there's learning lessons here. So I quit my job in a year from my first, and the only way I was able to do that is because I kept applying. I was like, hey, I'm going to get my second deal. So I started looking for the next deal. So I got another property under contract, right? Now, I pinch myself to this day, because when you have it in your head and you apply what's your goals and your dreams and you apply it and you go forward, what's that quote? The harder I work, the luckier I get. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I just kept working. Right. So my second deal, check this out, Trina. I got a phone call. Some gentleman was like, hey, I saw your I was on my 15-minute break at Verizon Wireless. Someone called me and said, hey, I saw the property that you have available. I'm interested in it. I'd like to know more. Here's my name and number. And I was like, this voice and name sounds really familiar. Call him. I was like, hey, is this so-and-so? I went to high school with him.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, Mike, what are you doing with this property? How you been? Blah, blah, blah. Right. I was like, I'm trying to wholesale. He's like, I've been wholesaling for 5 years. I was like, oh, cool. He's like, hey, you know what? Let's catch up. Come by the office and let's catch up and see how things are going. We'll check out this deal. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And he goes, hey, by the way, before we hung up, he goes, if any homeowner ever told you no, bring those leads too. Right. And I'm like, they told me no. Why would he want that? Right. Like, so what I learned is he saw the invisible. So Trina, if I went into your office at your business or your job, whatever it is, and they were like, train Mike on this specific position right now, you are going to know Mike's going to mess up here. He's going to ask me these same old questions. You're going to know exactly what I'm doing for the next month. So he saw the invisible, just like you. If you trained me right now, you'd see the invisible in my life. So he knew I talked to the homeowner wrong. He knew I analyzed the deal wrong. He knew I gave the wrong offer. He knew I just didn't know what I was doing. So let him double check my work, so to speak. I brought those to his office. In 4 months, he closed 3 deals, and I had $15K in my bank account from those deals.
Amazing.
So now I got 4 deals under my belt in less than 4 months.
That's great.
It's give or take.
Yeah.
So we learned, okay, traffic times conversion equals revenue. Mike knows how to bring homeowners in and leads and deals. He knows how to convert because he has 5 years experience. He's done it tons of times.
Yeah.
Let's partner up. So
Oh.
we became partners, but he was more also of like a coach mentor. I was like an apprentice, but I was getting paid on the deal. So I did 30 deals my first year in the business while working part-time. So I was working full-time on my days off, and after work, I'll do whatever I can, get the leads coming in. Then I was like, hey, after I go to that 15 grand, I was like, I'm going part-time. And now I went from 60 hours to 30, right? So I had more time and I was able to get more leads for him to close. And by the year end, I was able to quit my job. I wouldn't have been able to do it without assistance.
Yeah.
I beat the learning curve because of this gentleman that had 5 years experience. And I listened to every phone call, went on every appointment. I just copied him.
And in fact, you've had over 700 transactions. So you've seen a lot go down. What are some of the consistencies you've seen throughout the process?
Consistency.
Consistency is the consistency. That's good. That's good news. We like consistency.
Like no matter, I've learned, like, no matter as long as you keep pounding forward, yes, and because you're failing, there's no such thing as failure, there's feedback, right? If you take that feedback and you tweak it, like, don't repeat the same thing over and over in your business. That doesn't work, right? So long as you tweak it or change and you keep going forward, it starts to work itself out. So really, I know it's very simple to say, like, that being consistent and not stopping is something that always worked out.
Now, you've also been in a couple different markets. You've seen some trends. What are some of the things that you look for, that you've learned to look for in your experience?
So in real estate, the big indicator is job and population growth.
Okay.
Because if there's jobs, people have money, that means they're buying houses, right? Or they got extra money to invest into their future, or whatever it may be. So jobs and population are great for rental properties, for fix and flips. So what I would say in short is you go where the money's at. So I noticed here in Phoenix is where we're based, and the return on investment on a rental property was lowering, where I was used to getting a certain percentage that cut in half. So I'm like, I need to kind of, right, we're going moving forward. I'm not stopping renting. I'm not stopping buying rental properties because everything got cut in half. I just tweaked it and said, where can I get more? And that was Cleveland, Ohio. So I did my research, built some relationships out there, and I started buying rentals in Cleveland, Ohio. So that's kind of like, I just noticed I could, versus a $400,000 house and renting it out at $1,500, I could buy a $100,000 house and rent it out as $1,000. So the returns were better. I did my research. I adapted.
So if somebody's listening or watching this, they're thinking, man, I'm in, but we know it's not always that simple. What are some things that people should be aware of and watch for, and, teach us what we don't know?
Of course. So if you're getting the real estate investing, there's a lot of ways to invest in real estate. It's not just one way. And you got to figure out, in order for you to be aware of what to look out for, you need to educate yourself. So start reading books, whatever you're capable. Listen to these podcasts, right? Listen to real estate. Just immerse yourself with real estate education and start, because repetition is the mother of all learning. So you want to start getting all the information in your head, and then your network, right? You hear the cliche term, your network's your net worth. It's so true. So in the back of here on my screen, I don't know if this is gonna be audio or video, but AZREIA, Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. So REIA, Real Estate Investors Association, there's one in every city and state, right? And we're an umbrella under the national REIA. So you go to nationalrea.org, pick your city, wherever you're at, go into the community. This is where the legitimate licensed investors are, that, not that you need a license to be an investor, but like we're a licensed association. They have, when you come to a REIA, we already have what we call business associates. So you have real estate attorneys here, title companies to close your deal, real estate agents, real estate property managers, tax accountants. So we have your team and your resources all in one place. You don't have to use them, but it's a great place to start, right? So get educated and get the right people around you. And then you'll know how to create what I call your investor identity. You'll know what to look for. So just get immersed in the information first, and then you'll ultimately pick out what you want to do after you kind of like look at all the different options.
So if somebody is, again, listening and watching this and they're like, I would like to talk to that guy, are you interested in making that connection? And if
Of
so,
course.
would you please share your contact information?
Yeah, of course. Well, Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, we're on all social media platforms. So look up AZREIA or Instagram, Facebook. We're out there, LinkedIn, YouTube, subscribe, or go to our website, azrea.org, right? Just give us a call, and my team will hook you up with me. Or I'm in my personal, I'm on Instagram a lot. So Michael Del Prete is my Instagram handle. You can directly.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for sharing your insight and wisdom with us. You can learn more by watching and following along at runradio.net.